Now sing to my flowers.
Is this the flower of your soul?
The one and only. Do you too love the hyacinth?
I love it more than any other flower. I love its virginal shape, rising straight and slender from the bulbs, resting on the water, sending its pure white roots down to the colorless food. I love its colors. The snow white, the youthful pink, the ripe red. The best of all, blue, the dewy blue. Deep-eyed and full of faith. I love them more than gold or pearls. Have loved them ever since I was a child. Have worshipped them because they have all the fine qualities that I lack. And yet,
Go on.
and yet my love does not return, for these beautiful blossoms do hate me.
How do you mean?
Their fragrance, strong and pure as the early winds of spring, which have washed over melting snows, confuses my senses, deafens me, bombards me with poisoned arrows which wound my heart and set my head on fire. Do you know the legend of this flower?
Tell it to me.
First, its meaning. The bulb represents the earth, resting on the water or buried in the soil. Then the stalk rises, straight as the axis of the earth, and at the top are 6 pointed flowers.
Oh, the earth, the stars. It's wonderful. Where did you learn this? How did you find it out?
Let me think. In your eyes. And so you see, it's an image of the cosmos. This is why Buddha sits, holding the earth bulb, his eyes brooding as he watches it grow, outward and upward, transforming itself into heaven. This poor earth will become a heaven, for it is this that the Buddha waits.
I see it now. Is the snowflake not 6-pointed too, like the hyacinth flower?
Indeed, the snowflake must be a falling star.
And the snowdrop is a snow star coming out of snow.
But the biggest and most beautiful of the stars is the firmament. The gold and red Sirius is the narcissus with its gold and red chalice and 6 white rays.
Have you seen the shallot in bloom?
Indeed I have. It flares its blossom within a ball, a globe like the celestial ones, strewn about with white stars.
Oh, how glorious. Whose thought was that?
Yours? Ours. We've given birth to it together. We are not wedded.
Not yet.
What's still to do?
Waiting. Ordeals. Patience.
Very well. Put me to the test. Tell me, why do your parents sit out there so silently, not saying a single word to each other?
Because they have nothing to say to each other. Because neither believes what the other says. This is how my father puts it. What's the point of talking when neither of us can fool the other?
What a horrible thing to hear.
Here comes the cook
What does she want?
to ask me about dinner. I have to do the housekeeping as my mother's ill. You see, we have a housemaid too who has to clean up after. This room is called the Room of Ordeals. It looks beautiful, but it is full of defects.
Really? So such things must be seen too. It really is quite beautiful. But a little cold. Why don't you have a fire?
Because it smokes.
Can't you have the chimney swept?
It doesn't help. What's the worst job you can think of?
To count the washing.
That I have to do.
What else?
To sweep after her. To dust after her. To light the fire stove when all she's done is throw in some wood. See to the damper. To wipe the glasses. To lay the table over again. To open the bottles. To see that the rooms are aired. To remake the bed. To wipe out the chimney and trim the wick to keep the lamp from smoking so that they don't go out when we have company. I have to fill them myself.
Music!
Wait! The labor comes first. The labor keeping the dirt of life at distance.
But you are wealthy and have 2 servants.
It doesn't help. Even if we had 3, living is hard work. And sometimes I grow tired. Think then if there were a nursery as well.
The greatest of joys!
And the costliest. Is life worth so much hardship?
That must depend on the reward you expect for your efforts. I, for one, would not shrink from anything to win your hand.
Don't say that. You can never have me.
Why not?
You mustn't ask.
Many secrets in this house.
As in all others, permit us to keep ours.
Don't you approve of candor?
Yes, within reason.
Sometimes I'm sieged by a raging desire to say all I think. But the world would fall to pieces if one were completely candid. You know, I'm thinking about you now.
Don't tell me or I shall die.
I must, or I shall die.
It is in asylums that people say everything they think.
Exactly. My father finished up in an asylum.
Is he ill?
No. He's mad. See, he broke out once in these circumstances. Like all of us, he surrounded himself with a circle of acquaintances. Called them friends for short. They were a lot of rotters, as most people are. But he had to have some society. He couldn't get on all on his own. He knew perfectly well what frauds they were. He'd sounded the depths of their deceit. But as he was a wise and well-bred man, he always remained courteous to them. Then one day, he gave a big party. It was in the evening, and he grew tired from the day's work and from the strain of holding his tongue, and at the same time talking rubbish with his guests. Well, at the dinner table, he rapped for silence, raised his glass, and began to speak. And something loosened the trigger. He suddenly gave an enormous speech in which he stripped the entire company naked. One after the other, he told them all of their treachery. And tired out, he sat down on the table and told them all to go to hell.
Oh!
I was there, and I will never forget what happened then. Mother and father came to blows, guests rushed for the door, and my father was taken to a madhouse, where he died. There's something stagnating here. Yet I thought it paradise itself when I first saw you walk in here. There I stood that Sunday morning, gazing in. I saw a colonel, who was not a colonel. I had a benefactor, who was a thief and had to be hanged. I saw a mummy, who was no mummy, and an old maid. What of maidenhood, by the way? Your flowers have poisoned me, and I have given the poison back to you. I asked you to become my wife in a house full of poetry, song, and music. Who would have thought the most beautiful flowers would be so poisonous? Most poisonous. And so you see, it's a curse that lies over the whole of creation, over life itself. Why won't you become my bride? Because the very life spring in